He says to this officer, and these are his exact words, "I can't breathe. I've been stabbed. I've been stabbed." What does the police officer say? The police officer says, "I don't think you have, mate." What a bloody idiot. What a stupid man. One of the darkest moments in modern British history. The moment when it became clear that all sense has gone out the window.
Okay, well, this is a very different Daily Expresso today. It will not be like our usual episodes because today we are discussing the horrific and distressing situation with this Henry Nowak case. James Walker joining me in the studio. James, talk me through it.
So, JJ, I just want to start by saying a lot of people watching will have heard about this case today. This poor 18-year-old boy stabbed to death for no reason. Police arrest him and put him in handcuffs because he's been accused of being racist. Falsely, I should add. JJ, we always talk about the culture wars and how these things play out on social media. The trivial stuff, the arguments, the back and forth. But in the real world, this is what the left-wing madness leads to. Our police, our courts, our politicians, our media, the rot has set in literally everywhere. And this is the price a young man has paid. It's awful. This is what happens when ideology trumps common sense. This is what happens when being offensive is somehow worse than stabbing someone to death. It's madness. What do you think of the case, JJ?
I think it's devastating. I saw a former Met top detective talking about this case, and he wasn't trying to defend the police, but he was essentially saying these things happen all the time because whether it's a woman calling up and saying that her boyfriend's beating her up, or whether it's someone else calling up and saying this person's attacked me, they get to the scene and often the person who is being accused is drunk or they've been held down by other people, and the police are used to hearing their excuses, so they don't bother checking and they want to speak to the victim first. Which just seems odd that the police officers would turn up. The guy says, "I've been stabbed, I can't breathe," and the police, even if the police think, "Oh well, you know, I'm desensitized to this, I get this all the time," he's probably lying. They should probably still check. You'd think that would be the common sense thing to do. Would be like, completely. Right, let me check so I can say to this guy, right, you're not bleeding. Get in the back of the van. Yeah,
this is it. This is the death of common sense in Britain, right? You're a police officer. You turn up to a scene. We've seen the body cam footage, JJ. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's absolutely harrowing. This poor kid is lying on the gravel of a driveway. There's a blood trail. The kid is pale as a sheet. He's whiter than your t-shirt. Like it's horrible to watch. He says to this officer, and these are his exact words, "I can't breathe. I've been stabbed. I've been stabbed. I've been stabbed. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance. I've been stabbed. I can't breathe. Please, brother, I can't breathe." What does the police officer say? The police officer says, when Henry says he's been stabbed, the police officer says, "I don't think you have, mate." What a bloody idiot. What a stupid man. That man should have his badge taken off him and should be frankly prosecuted. That is criminal negligence. And to the credit of one other police officer at the scene, a woman, who frankly could have done a lot more, she at least said, "We should check." Duh.
Yeah.
Basic common sense is out of the window. Why? Because this guy has been accused of being racist. He's pinned to the ground. They think he's drunk. He's not drunk. The alcohol levels in his body were below the drink drive limit. He had barely any, if any, alcohol in his system. He was dying. He was bleeding out. We're going to look back on this, JJ, I think, January, is one of the darkest moments in modern British history. The moment when it became clear that all sense has gone out the window.
Well, part of the problem we have with this is that it's the other man involved, Vickrum Digwa. Vickrum Digwa and his family were all part of this. They made the phone call to 999. They gave false information. They made the police believe that he'd been attacked and it was a racial attack. When the police turned up, I think Vickrum Digwa's turban had been knocked off, so it appeared that there had been a scuffle. And as I say, the police, from what this top former Met detective said, the police are desensitized to it. To us as the public, I mean, I know as journalists we see a lot of this kind of stuff all the time that we can't report about, but to members of the public, this is crazy and it's horrific, and how can the police have not just checked? But this top Met detective was saying, yeah, sadly, the coppers are desensitized to it. They're doing 50 of these calls a day, and 9 times out of 10 it always ends the same way. But as terrible as I think the police made their decision to not check on young Henry, there needs to be more onus put on Vickrum Digwa, his father, his brother, his mother. Now I think it's only Vikram's mom, Kieran Kaur, who's been found guilty of anything, and she's going to be sentenced soon.
Yeah, so just to run you through some of the facts, I mean, you've covered a lot of them there. Basically, it's interesting as well what you say. Mark Novak, the father of Henry, said, he holds, like you say, Digwa solely responsible for the murder. He's very unhappy with the way the police treated his son, and quite rightly. But he holds Digwa solely responsible. They got called out. Digwa's brother called the police and said that this Henry had been racist towards his brother. False accusation. The court said there's no evidence of him doing that whatsoever. So he's called the police and he's lied to them. The father has then apparently, reportedly, physically detained Henry until police arrived before he's been stabbed.
Yeah.
Right? And the mum, who is, like you say, has been convicted and is now up for sentencing, she took the knife away from the scene. Like it's a piece of rubbish left lying around. She tried to cover up her son's tracks. She's an accessory.
Yeah.
To all this.
The brother also,
it's an absolute disgrace.
The brother also spoke to Vickrum in Punjabi and advised him, you've got to say it's self-defense. You've got to say it's self-defense. Thankfully, that was recorded on one of the body cams of the police, and they were able to translate that. But the fact that, and Vickrum was filming Henry the whole time. So rather than call the police when he'd been racially attacked, he called his parents and he called his brother. Their family got there before the police got there. None of them thought, okay, we need to call an ambulance. None of them thought that.
I think it's utterly disgraceful.
Now, there have been calls from lots of people, lots of politicians, to say that because Digwa was claiming that he had a religious knife on him, a kirpan, but the Sikh Federation have said that the blade used by Digwa was not a religious knife. Yeah. It was not a kirpan. But now it's the genie's out the bottle now. This one death is now going to make, I think, a lot of people in this country say nobody should be allowed to carry a knife, whether it's for your religion or not.
Well, you shouldn't be able to carry a knife. I mean, whether it's a ceremonial knife or not. I mean, the CPS say one thing and the court documents say it was. The Sikh Federation say it wasn't. Frankly, it's irrelevant. Why the hell was he carrying a knife on British streets? Why do we allow people to do that? For religion or not, I don't care. You shouldn't be. There should be no exceptions. There's one law for everyone. Yeah. Right. The heart of the case is this poor kid was paid with his life. Right. For all these sort of these worries about sensitivities and was it this or was it that? The kid did nothing wrong and was stabbed to death and handcuffed because of false accusation made against him.
Clearly, this kid was this.
He's got a pattern of behaviour.
Kid. Yeah. Vickrum Digwa has a pattern of behaviour that he's been allowed to get away with.
The killer's family were kicking off in court. I mean, how utterly shameless do they have to be?
Yeah, well, the small bit of justice, I guess, that the Nowak family can have is that the killer is facing life in prison. And I say life, it's not really life, it's life with a minimum of 21 years. So,
and he'll be out in 10.
He's not going to serve 21. It's unlikely, I think, he's going to serve 21 years. But either way, that doesn't bring back Henry Novak. I think Mark Novak, Henry's dad, has had so much grace and courage. He's handled himself very well. If it was my son who'd been stabbed, I'd want to burn the whole world down until I was satisfied.
But like you say, he's handled himself with incredible grace. I can't even imagine what he's going through. To have watched that footage of your own son, I mean, it's genuinely it's so tragic. Just to go back to the family's reaction, I really want to get a bit of their reaction here because I think it's important to hear what they said. Mark Novak, as I mentioned earlier, said his family held Digwa solely responsible, but he said the police treatment of his son, handcuffing him, reading his rights as he lay dying on the street, stabbed, was inhumane and degrading. He said that officers were told a wicked lie and just believed it, and for that, he's deeply, deeply unhappy with them. And he obviously the IOPC are investigating Hampshire Police, the police watchdog. They're investigating Hampshire Police and the action of those officers, and I think quite right.
Well, Hampshire Police had to refer themselves to the IOPC,
Yeah.
which is they're kind of marking their own homework in a way.
Well, exactly.
And the thing that doesn't give me any hope with this, and makes me feel that nothing's going to happen, is because you go back to 1993, Stephen Lawrence was stabbed at a bus stop for doing nothing, and the police handled that badly. They didn't collect the right evidence, they didn't arrest the right people at the same time. Investigation after investigation after investigation. Now, what, we 33 years later, we have this now happening to Henry Novak. It's the same again. Of course, it's a different constabulary. Stephen Lawrence was with the Met. But it's another massive, I wanted to swear, it's another massive error from our police.
Yeah, they're a shambles.
Yeah.
They're an utter shambles. A deep look needs to be made into the police. They're just, every force across the country seems utterly incapable of doing their job properly. Two-tier policing, I mean, there's a lot of arguing, about, is two-tier policing a thing? Is it just a cultural thing? Well, I mean, when you look at sort of the way the police behave sometimes, I mean, you can see how people get the impression.
But then,
right?
but then based off what you said about Stephen Lawrence, then you would say then it's not two-tier policing.
Well,
because one was a black guy.
I mean, but then how do they treat, like something, say, processes, pro-Palestine processes versus,
Oh yeah, but absolutely. But I'm saying in this case, I don't think we can say indefinitely that yes, this is a clear case of two-tier policing. What I think this is,
but you can see how they get the bad image.
I think this is really bad policing, and I think it's an officer who is desensitized and isn't that interested and just wants to get back home. Yeah.
He's a useless
That's
idiot.
it. Is he going to face prosecution? I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so. I think there'll be many investigations that's going to last the next couple of years, and we're going to see maybe in another 10 years we'll see a repeat of this with someone else happening, because this is history repeating.
To go back to the family statements for a moment. Henry's sister said, I think this was really quite poignant. Henry's sister said, "The day we got a knock on the door to say my brother had passed, I don't think there are any words to describe that type of pain. A lot of myself died when he died." I mean, how horrendous. How horrendous for this poor family.
Yeah, and Henry's dad, in his statement after the sentencing, had said that he let his son down, which is not the case at all. Not the case at all. But it's heartbreaking that the killer, the murderer, his family were with him throughout this, and Henry was there by himself with no one, begging for help, and his own family had no idea what was going on.
This is so sad, man.
Yeah,
it's so sad. So the family have called for, just to go on about what the family said, they've called for urgent action on knife crime as a result of this. Some political reaction. Give the audience a bit of an update on that. I'm sure they might have seen, but Farage called for an IOPC report into two-tier policing, dependent on race and religion. He's told people to respond with pure cold rage. He added, the rights and privileges of white people matter less than those of ethnic minorities. He also said there was evidence of two-tier policing. Then he said, white lives matter just as much as black lives. Kemi went on G&B this morning as well.
Badenoch?
Yeah, she went on G&B this morning and was basically saying, I don't want to hear about Black Lives Matter, I don't want to hear about White Lives Matter, I want to hear about every life matters. I
think she's right. I think that's the right way of saying it. I get Farage is angry, and rightfully as he should be. Everyone should be angry. Reacting with cold rage, to me, that suggests we should have, it's going to be like the Southport riots all over again. Yes, people are angry. Is going in the street and attacking random people then the way to do it? Is burning down your local neighbourhood the way to do that? I don't think it is.
Yeah. No, of course, I mean, rioting can't be excused. It's not on, regardless of what's happened. But I think Kemi Badenoch is absolutely right that all lives matter. But I think when he talks about pure cold rage, though, I think there's something there. Cold rage. If you're not going around burning stuff down, it's completely justified to feel deeply angry, and I think also deeply justified to protest about this.
I think absolutely.
It's about time.
I think absolutely protest, but going out. I don't think I don't think some people who listen to Nigel Farage are going to be as level-headed as you. I don't think they're going to say, well, actually, I'm going to write a letter to my local politician about this. I think they're going to go in the streets and they're going to start attacking people. I think they're going to burn down buildings. I think they're going to turn over police cars. I think in Southampton, I think that the police in Southampton, they're going to get targeted because of two officers who made a huge, horrendous mistake. The whole of the Hampshire police force are going to, in the coming days, face real scrutiny. And there'll be some Hampshire police officers who are actually fantastic at their jobs. And if they'd been the ones who'd gone to that scene, then we wouldn't be having this conversation, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's hope something's done about the officers who made that huge error. They definitely shouldn't be wearing their badge anymore. I mean, we can probably both agree on that.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for watching, and see you again.